The clock strikes 3:13. Alexander Thorne arrived in the misty village of Blackmoor, nestled in the rolling hills of Yorkshire, England, on a dreary autumn afternoon in 2023. As a 25-year-old history student from the University of Oxford, Alex was drawn to the layers of forgotten lore where culture intertwined with the supernatural. Blackmoor, with its crumbling Victorian architecture and whispers of colonial pasts, was the perfect haven for his thesis on occult artifacts and their ties to Britain's imperial history. He had rented an abandoned Gothic manor on the outskirts, a place locals claimed had seen numerous unexplained disappearances over the decades. To Alex, these tales were mere folklore, embellished to ward off outsiders, not grounded in reality. The manor loomed like a sentinel from a bygone era, built in the mid-19th century with steep gabled roofs, arched windows etched with intricate patterns, and walls of weathered grey stone overgrown with ivy. The front door, heavy oak, reinforced with iron, creaked ominously when opened, echoing through the empty halls. The central space was the grand drawing room, vast and echoing, featuring a massive marble fireplace cracked with age, polished oak floors hidden under dust, and wallpaper peeling in faded floral designs that hinted at faded opulence. Sunlight filtered through tall windows, but it always carried a pallid, ethereal quality, casting elongated shadows that seemed to shift of their own accord. His quest for furnishings led Alex to an antique shop tucked away in a narrow alley of Blackmoor-esque cobblestone streets. The shop, Echoes of Empire, was run by an elderly man named Mr. Hargrove. In his late 60s, Hargrove had a gaunt frame, piercing blue eyes behind wire-rimmed spectacles, and a habit of scrutinizing customers as if weighing their souls. The air inside was thick with the scent of aged wood, mothballs, and faint incense, mingled with something metallic, like old blood. Alex wandered among the shelves, porcelain vases from the Raj era, brass idols from Africa, leather-bound tomes in Latin, and tarnished silverware from colonial banquets. His gaze locked onto the pendulum clock of ebony wood, standing nearly 7 feet tall in the corner like a silent guardian. Its body was intricately carved with motifs of angels and demons intertwined, celestial beings with outstretched wings clashing against horned fiends with gaping maws, symbolizing an eternal battle between light and shadow. The face was crystal clear, slightly domed for a distorting effect, with hour and minute hands gleaming under the dim oil lamp. The pendulum, a brass orb, bore an enigmatic face, half smiling, half grimacing, its eyes seeming to follow the observer. "What's the story behind this one, sir?" Alex inquired, his voice laced with curiosity but tempered by his inherent skepticism. For him, anomalies were explained by history or psychology. Ghosts were figments born from societal traumas of the past. Mr. Hargrove paused in polishing a relic, sighing deeply, his voice raspy like rustling leaves in the wind. "Young man, this clock once belonged to the Harrington family, a prominent lineage in Blackmoor during the height of the British Empire. They amassed wealth through tea and spice trades from India and Africa, exploiting colonies mercilessly, but the entire household perished mysteriously in a storm night in 1893. Bodies found in the drawing room, faces twisted in agony, no external wounds. Rumors say it's cursed by a vengeful spirit. Best leave it be if you value your peace." Alex smirked, running his fingers over the cool ebony. "Sounds like a tall tale to scare buyers. I'm a history student. This would be gold for my research on colonial occult practices." "How much?" Hargrove shook his head but quoted a suspiciously low price, as if eager to rid himself of it. As Alex hauled the clock out, the old man whispered hoarsely, "Mind you, don't let it chime at midnight. The hour 3:13 is the witching time, when spirits are strongest. If you hear odd whispers, flee." Alex dismissed the warning as superstition. He transported the clock to the manor in his battered Land Rover, the Yorkshire wind howling through the moors like a foreboding chorus, positioning it in the drawing room's corner, facing a large antique mirror with a silver frame tarnished by time, its surface subtly warped, reflecting the room in a slightly skewed manner. He dusted it off, wound the mechanism, and the pendulum swung rhythmically, tick-tock, tick-tock, a heartbeat echoing through the silent house. That first night, Alex slept soundly after the exhausting move. Blackmoor's evenings were eerily quiet, broken only by the wind moaning through the eaves and distant owl calls. But at precisely 3:13 a.m., the clock's chime erupted not the familiar gong, but a deep, resonant toll, hollow and echoing like murmurs from the abyss. Bong ... bong ... 13 times, lingering and vibrating through the walls. Alex jolted awake in the upstairs bedroom, heart pounding wildly. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the chill. He sat up, ears straining in the darkness. The chime faded, but its echo lingered in his mind. Faulty old mechanism, he muttered, rationalizing it away. Descending to the drawing room with a flashlight, the beam revealed the hands at 3:13, and oddly, after the chime, the minute hand began to ... reverse, tick-tock backward, as if unwinding time itself. Alex rubbed his eyes, blaming fatigue-induced illusions. He returned to bed, but sleep came fitfully. The next morning, while clearing the overgrown garden, Alex met Mrs. Editha, solitary neighbor in her 70s, living a few hundred yards away in a quaint cottage. Thin and wiry, with silver hair pinned in a bun, she wore faded floral dresses and chewed on a pipe stem, her eyes sharp and knowing, as if she'd seen centuries unfold. New tenant, that manor. Folks don't stay long, she called over the hedge, her Yorkshire accent thick and gravelly. Alex smiled politely, wiping dirt from his hands. Just renting for research on local history. Ma'am, I'm not one for ghost stories. They're probably exaggerated tales from the Victorian era. Mrs. Edith puffed her pipe, exhaling smoke that curled like spirits. Got that pendulum clock? Have you? I saw you bring it in. Belonged to the Harringtons. They used it in summoning rituals, you know. Lord Reginald Harrington, empire builder, but dabbler in the occult, found an ancient incantation in Latin, the chant of the locked chime, from a colonial mystic, to seal away spirits. Botched it, and the whole family was devoured from within. The spirits trapped in the mirror emerges after the 3:13 chime, starts looking like kin of the owner, then twists into something vile and malevolent. Alex noted it down, viewing it as valuable folklore. Fascinating. I'll incorporate it into my thesis. But a spirit in a mirror sounds like a metaphor for colonial guilt. Mrs. Edith shook her head, voice dropping to a whisper. No metaphor, lad. 3:13 is the devil's hour, when veils thin. The spirit was a slave from the African colonies, tortured to death on Harrington's orders for rebellion. Cursed the bloodline. Each appearance, it steals memories, voice, then the soul. Tenants before you vanished, thus seeing their reflection lag, smile when they didn't, then gone. Alex nodded courteously, but skepticism held firm. Back home, he delved into research. The chimes at 3:13 became a nightly torment, wrenching him from sleep, body drained. He journaled meticulously. Chime defies logic, tolls 13 times, then hands reverse for 13 minutes before normalizing. Likely worn gears. He dismantled the pendulum, but it persisted. A local repairman fled after inspecting, pale as death. That ain't no normal clock. Something's alive in there. Unease crept in. Days at Blackmoor's library uncovered yellowed archives. In 1893, the Harringtons' Lord Lady and children found dead in the drawing room. Faces contorted in horror, internals mangled without breach. Empire papers dubbed it the Blackmoor curse, linking to the clock imported from France, but hexed in colonial outposts. One night, post-chime, Alex couldn't rest. In the drawing room, under flickering candlelight, he gazed into the mirror. His reflection stared back but delayed. He raised his right hand. The image lifted left, sluggishly. He smiled. It smirked, baring unnaturally sharp teeth. Heart clenching, hallucination from insomnia, he whispered, voice trembling. Turning away, a glance back showed the image lingering, watching. Escalation was insidious. Days brought alien memories. Overseeing African plantations, whipping rebels, blood-soaked earth. His voice deepened, acquiring a Victorian lilt. Calls to Oxford friends elicited concern. You sound off, Alex. Like some old colonial gent. Terror mounting. Alex sought Mrs. Edith amid pouring rain. Ma'am, it's happening. The mirror, ... My reflection moves on its own. Memories, not mine. She nodded gravely, pipe clenched. The spirits, overtaking you. Mimics family, then only the chant of the locked chime seals it. Latin incantation, lost since Harrington's. Read precisely at 3:13, matching the ticks. Fail, and you're consumed. Desperate, Alex scoured the manors, cellar dank, spider-webbed, reeking of decay. Behind a false wall, a brittle scroll in Latin. O spirit, wandering eternal time, by this chime I bind thee in glass. Angels bear witness, demons retreat. With tick-tock rhythm, I seal thee ... But rodents had gnawed the final line. The climax stormed in. Alex before the clock, scroll in hand, candles guttering in gale winds. Mirror fogged. At 3:13, chime tolled, hands reversed, mirror vibrated. Spirit emerged Lax's likeness, but grotesque, pallid skin, crimson eyes, grinning more with fangs. It hissed through glass. I am you, you are me. The line endures in death. Your memories, ... mine. Alex chanted, voice steady amid fear, sinking 2 backward ticks. Spirit lunged, claws scraping glass screechingly. Reaching the end, he improvised. By blood of the line, I locked thee forever. Chime ceased, mirror cleared, spirit wailed, vanishing. Relief washed over, but morning mirror showed his reflection, grinning sans his intent, eyes flashing red. That night, chime resumed, hands reversed, figure returned. The final line, ... wrong. Alex vanished, days later. Manor empty, clock ticking, scroll on table, blood scrawled. I return. Mrs. Edith whispers of chimes echoing, mirror figures beckoning Alex's form, twisted, inviting the next victim into the 313 curse.